this meeting.
All right, are we ready?
Otherwise, everyone just turns on their mic. This is called ad hoc. And then I just gotta wake up the public.
Yeah, we need that one. Yeah. Okay, good morning. Welcome to the August 26, 2026 meeting of the Historic Preservation Commission meeting of the City of Peoria. We would ask that staff at this time take roll to ascertain whether or not we have a quorum.
Commissioner Barry?
Here.
Commissioner Farrell Gold?
Here.
Commissioner Colin Kraus?
Here?
Commissioner Jan Kraus?
Here.
Commissioner Leslie?
Here.
Commissioner Maloof?
Here.
Chairman Wiggins-Erdman?
Here.
Commissioner, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Members of the public, if you intend to speak during these proceedings, either to an address to a specific case or to speak at the end in our open forum, we would like you to please rise at this time to be sworn in. Thank you. Okay. We will begin this meeting with a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting on June 24th, 2026. Do I have such a motion? So moved. So moved by Vice Chairman Maloof.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kraus. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, our first case this morning. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, please let the record reflect that for the Peoria Women's Club, I will be recusing myself because the firm I'm associated with is doing work on that project.
Thank you, Commissioner Barry. I too would like to, for the record, to know that I will be recusing myself from case number HPC 311-2026. Vice Chairman Maloof will take over at that time. Yes,
I just
Commissioner
want to state
Leslie.
Thank you. Just state on the record that I will be recusing myself from the case number HPC 306-2026, which is involving the Peoria Women's Club. Just over abundance of caution, I was previously involved with the Preservation Committee, so I will be recusing myself from.
Great, thank you. Okay, are we ready to move forward? Okay. First case for this morning, case number HPC 304-2026. Staff, will you please read this into the record?
This is case number HPC 304-2026. It's a public hearing on the request of Jordan Robles to obtain a certificate of appropriateness in a Class R4 single-family residential district to replace windows for the property located at 1017 West Moss Avenue. The parcel identification number is 1808-203002. So in the information you were sent and up on your screen, we have our zoning map showing location of the property. It's in our Moss High Local Historic District, Moss Avenue. The property fronts Moss Avenue near the intersection with University Street, kind of across the street from Moss Avenue Terrace. The request this morning is to replace windows on all sides of the home. The applicant identified them as starting to deteriorate and needing to be replaced. The proposal is to replace them with vinyl windows in the color white. They would have the same style as the style that's present. For example, double hung configurations would remain. If there's a colonial grid, then that is being replaced. Here's a picture of the front of the home. If you may recall, earlier this year, this applicant received a certificate of appropriateness to replace the roof, gutters, and then the panel on this front dormer. to match the window type on other dormers. So it was previously approved to replace this panel with a window. And so now his request is to replace the other windows. So again, like these windows have an upper sash with colonial grid. He's keeping that style. Some of these lower ones with just double hung with no grid, keeping that style. This description in the packet kind of outlines, based on elevation, which windows, what windows are being replaced. And then he submitted the product package specs identifying the vinyl material and coloring. So this commission has been asked to approve a certificate of appropriateness for that scope of work. You can approve as presented, you can modify and grant the application, or you can deny the application. If denied, he'd have to come back, or he could not come back until a year has passed, or unless he modifies his application per your comments.
Great. Thank you, city staff. Commissioners, any questions for staff before we proceed? Okay, will representatives of this petition or the petitioners please step forward and explain your proposal? And please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, good morning. My name is Jordan Robles, 1017 West Moss Avenue. Was that everything? Then?
Yep, that's good.
So I met y'all a couple of months ago wanting to replace the dormer, and that was part of a whole ordeal where we were trying to deal with issues with the roof. In tandem with that, we had someone come in who was inspecting the property, and we were looking at replacing the windows anyway because it's difficult to see from the outside, but the inner side of it has all the lead paint, and the people that we bought the house from were using this kind of insulation to try and, because they're older windows, to maintain the gap, but it would maintain moisture and was starting to deteriorate the inside of the sill and the inside of the windows. There was a lot of intermittent issues because some windows had been replaced before, there were different styles, so we were looking at just replacing all of them simultaneously, but at the time we weren't sure if we would be able to do that because of timeliness on what we needed to do with the roof. Once we got that approval, our issues with refinancing the house and the roof and what have you were put together, and we were given the opportunity to replace all of the windows for a significant discount that we were initially offered that we didn't think that they would allow us to retain, and they actually did. So we went ahead and started the process to go through that. I can give specific details, but it really just comes down to like each individual window has their own unique problems. And it just made sense to just replace all of them so they would all be the same consistent style, all have the same resilience and what have you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any questions for the petitioner? Yes, Commissioner Berry.
Mr. Petitioner, I'm curious, there are a couple window openings where the current windows are smaller than the opening, and you've got some plywood or whatever that's painted. Will those instances where in the original would have been full windows, will those be restored to full windows?
Every window is going to I'm sorry if I don't understand the question. Every window is being replaced to the same size. It's being like every individual was measured the same to fit into the same. The like paneling around it is being replaced with an aluminum, but like the shape of the window is being kept consistent. Where there was any kind of molding, like decorativeness, that was not affected except in the porch, and that only affected this kind of embossedness, the effect in the wood between the panel or between the window panes. But otherwise, there really isn't any effect or like noticeable difference between what's being replaced and like the window that it's replacing. Does that answer the question?
So, Carolyn, if you could scroll, I think there was a photo of one of what I'm talking about. right there, the corner, those double hung windows and the door, that should be a full window up to the steel lintel or whatever. And the one to the left, the two on either side of the door, just like the window to the far right fills the opening. Whereas somebody came along years ago and put in a double hung replacement there, that's not going back to full glass as per the original historic look of that corner.
No. Like, the double hung window is being replaced with a double hung window. I wasn't aware of.
The double hung window will not fill the opening as it was in the original design of the building.
Correct.
Any other questions?
Commissioner?
Yes.
So what condition assessment was performed on each historic window?
Pardon?
I'm just curious about what assessment was performed on each window to kind of determine that they're completely beyond repair.
We didn't go to that extent approaching it. Like, there was just the myriad of issues that we were having with them. We did have a gentleman come in to kind of like assess, but it really came down to just like, you can see materially the wood is warping, the wood is damaged. It's not like it was letting pest issues. We were having wasp infections. Like, it was kind of it was more that issue.
Commissioners, any other questions? Are there any members of the public that would like to address this petition? All right, thank you very much. Okay, the public portion of this meeting is now closed. Commissioners, do we have any discussion on this petition? Okay, hearing none, we will proceed with our findings of fact. Vice Chairman Maloof.
Every reasonable effort shall be made to provide a compatible use for a property that requires a minimal alteration of the building, the structure or site, and its environment, or to use a property for its originally intended purpose.
Yes.
Thank you. The distinguishing original qualities or character of a building, structure, or site and its environment shall not be destroyed. The removal or alteration of any historic material or distinctive architectural feature should be avoided when possible.
Yes.
Yes.
All buildings, structures, and sites shall be recognized as products of their own time. Alterations that have no historical basis and that seek to create an earlier appearance shall be discouraged.
Yes.
Changes that may have taken place in the course of time are evidence of the history and development of a building, structure, or site and its environment. These changes may have acquired significance of their own right, and the significance shall be recognized and respected.
Yes.
Distinctive stylistic features or examples of skilled craftsmanship that characterize a building, a structure, or site shall be treated with sensitivity.
Yes.
Yes.
Deteriorated architectural features shall be repaired rather than replaced whenever possible. In the event that replacement is necessary, the new material should match the material being replaced in composition, design, color, texture, and other visual qualities. Repair or replacement of missing architectural features should be based on accurate duplications of features substantiated by historic, physical, or pictorial evidence, rather on conjectural design or the availability of different architectural elements from other buildings or structures.
Yes.
The surface of cleaning structures shall be undertaken with the gentlest means possible. Sandblasting and other cleaning methods that will damage historic buildings materials shall not be undertaken.
NA.
Thank you. Every reasonable effort shall be made to protect and preserve architectural resources affected by or adjacent to any project.
NA.
Contemporary design for alterations and additions to existing properties shall not be discouraged when such alterations and additions do not destroy significant historical, architectural, or cultural material, and such design is compatible with the size, scale, color, materials, and character of the property, neighborhood, or environment.
Yes.
Yes.
Whenever possible, new additions or alterations shall be done in such a manner that if such additions or alterations were to be removed in the future, the essential form and integrity of the structure would be unimpaired.
Yes.
Yes.
The height of the proposed structure or addition or alteration should be compatible with surrounding structures.
NA.
NA.
The proportion between the width and height of the proposed structure should be compatible with nearby structures.
NA.
A.
The proportions and relationships between doors and windows should be compatible with existing structures.
NA.
NA.
The relationship of a structure to the open space between it and adjoining structures should be compatible.
NA.
The design of the roof should be compatible with adjoining structures.
NA.
Landscaping, the use of appurtenances should be sensitive to the individual structures, its occupants, and their needs. Further, the landscape treatment should be compatible with surrounding structures and landscapes.
NA.
NA.
The scale of the structure should be compatible with surrounding structures.
NA.
Street facades should blend with other structures with regard to directional expression. When adjacent structures have a dominant horizontal or vertical expression, this should be carried over and reflected.
NA.
NA.
Architectural details and materials should be incorporated as necessary to relate the new with the old and preserve and enhance the inherent characteristics of the area.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Do we have a motion on this petition?
I would move to approve as presented.
We have a motion from Commissioner Kraus to approve as presented. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Commissioner Farrell Gould. I think we can take a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for coming before us this morning. Thank you for your efforts to preserve your wonderful home. You will receive the certificate of appropriateness. And thank you again. Thank you. Okay. Moving right along, case number HPC 306-2026. Staff, would you please read this case into the record?
Case number HPC 306-2026 is a public hearing on the request of Vicky Hordeski of the Peoria Women's Club to obtain a certificate of appropriateness in a Class B1 Central Business District to install mechanical equipment and duct, louvers in attic windows, electrical cabinets, sidewalk, and an emergency exit stair with alterations to a window to accommodate a door for the property located at 301 Northeast Madison Avenue. The parcel identification number is 1809226001. This property is the Peoria Women's Club, and it is designated as a local historic landmark. And so therefore, there was notification via 250 linear feet of the location of the property to everyone that owns property within that radius. This request is to, again, for the Peoria Women's Club. They're located here downtown, corner of Fayette and Madison Avenue. And the back of the building abuts I-74 and the right-of-way. The right-of-way includes a lot of the grassy area that you see here. The proposal this morning, it would result largely in, on the exterior changes for equipment and emergency exit egress stair on the back of the property here along the I-74 right-of-way. There would also be some changes on the exterior you would see via louvers in attic windows. So I'll pull up their site plan in their packet. I'll go back here. A large scope for this project is in order to meet building and fire code requirements. That is the reason for the emergency stair on the back of the building. And the intent behind that part of the proposal is so that the second floor auditorium that's there can be occupied in order to meet current fire and building safety codes. This additional egress is necessary. And so this plan has been discussed with building and fire safety staff. Alternatives really were less optimal than what is presented this morning. And then the different equipment that is proposed, the ductwork, the emergency stair, they will all be painted to as a color match with the brick brown of the building. There's also proposed to be some landscape screening around mechanical units. And so the site plan identifies the location of the equipment relative to the building, shows the landscape screening would kind of buffer the larger mechanical equipment. And then the brown color is also used for screening. And then the emergency stair would obviously egress onto a sidewalk and get to the public way. So in going through just some of the additional elements of their packet, we have the front of the building. So this is on Hamilton, excuse me. And then the north side of the building, and the equipment would be on the back side, not visible from the main frontage of the building. And then here we're on Madison, and the equipment would be in the background. Here's a image of one of the attic windows. So that would be replaced with a louver. And again, would have some color screening element to it. The egress stair would need to modify a door or a window, an existing window, to accommodate a door to access the stairs. And so the window would be modified to have a door added to it. So it'd be the simple design and then painted the same as the other equipment to try to match or be screened a little bit. So here, as I mentioned, that we have a window currently, and so that would need to be modified to drop down for a doorway. Okay, so this is the back of the Women's Club. And then just one other note, some of the equipment extends into the I-74 right-of-way. The Women's Club has an active lease to be able to use that area. There's also some, with some more time, I believe the intent is to acquire some of that property. Yeah, so that is a staff's summary of the proposal.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions for staff before we proceed? All right, hearing none, will the representatives of the petition please step forward and enlighten us further? Welcome back.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I'm Vicki Hordusky. I'm the chair of the Restoration Committee for the Peoria Women's Club, so this is not the first time you've seen me here. We are working on a complete restoration of our building. We are doing it as we fundraise. So as we gain funds, we're coming here with each section of our project. And so we were able to get National Park Service grants for this work. And it is to increase the electricity brought to our building. Currently, we have 200 amps, which is sort of residential-ish. And so in later stages, when we want to actually use the theater, fix our kitchen, put an elevator on to meet ADA requirements, it's just not sufficient. And then we need to have a second egress from upstairs because when our building was built, that was not a requirement, and we have one stairwell. And then there is currently no heating or air conditioning. And we were here previously and we've had all the windows restored, the original wood windows restored. So we're anxious to get heating and air conditioning up there so they do not deteriorate the work that we've already completed there. So we have leased the land between us and I-74, a section of it, for the placement of the equipment. And we do have ongoing discussions to purchase it. We think we'll have a number from them in the next 2 weeks, and that will be imminently completed because today we own about 18 inches around our entire building. That is it. Because the street has continually been widened. I-74 went in after we were built, so we have pretty much no land at all that belongs to us. So we're going to purchase part of the I-74 property so that we can have equipment, someday maybe an elevator, those sorts of things. So for this project, we did the best that we could do to modify the building as little as possible. We worked very hard with our architects on that, and this was the only place that we could bring the amount of air displacement that's required for that large room upstairs into the building. And there's no way to run it in the walls. All the other equipment is being placed inside the attic, so it won't be seen. So very minimal change from the inside as well. We're going to paint it, screen it the best we can, and that was the best alternative we could come up with to get the amount of air that's required upstairs. And then the external fireplace, the external egress, we went through a couple of options. We really tried to make an internal staircase modification work, but for today's standards, there's no way for us to make it large enough for the number of people safety-wise that would need to use it. So with the city inspectors, the external fire escape was the only option that will be able to make it safe enough and for us to open up the upstairs someday. So we're here asking for your permission and grant to do that.
Great, thank you. Commissioners, any questions for the petitioner? Boy, we're going to move really quickly through this one. All right, are there any members of the public that would like to address this petition? Okay, hearing none, the public portion of this is now closed. Commissioners, any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Yes, Vice Chairman Maloof.
Mr. Chairman, or Commissioner Maloof, would you hit the space bar? You can turn your mic on. Thank you.
Got it. I have personally toured this building, and I would like to add before we go through the findings of fact, this is truly a gem. The use has been long, and we hope we have a long future as well. So I just wanted to compliment your efforts on keeping this building one of Peoria's gems. Thank you.
All right, very good. We can now proceed with our findings of fact. Back to Vice Chairman Maloof.
Every reasonable effort shall be made to provide a compatible use for a property that requires a minimal alteration of the building, structure, or site and its environment, or to use the property for its originally intended purpose.
Yes.
Yes.
The distinguishing original qualities or character of a building, structure, or site and its environment shall not be destroyed. The removal or alteration of any historic material or distinctive architectural feature should be avoided when possible.
Yes.
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 All buildings, structures, and sites shall be recognized as products of their own time. Alterations that have no historical basis and that seek to create an earlier appearance shall be discouraged.
Yes.
Changes that may have taken place in the course of time are evidence of the history and development of a building, structure, or site and its environment. These changes may have acquired significance in their own right, and the significance shall be recognized and respected.
Yes.
Distinctive stylistic features or examples of skilled craftsmanship that characterize a building, structure, or site shall be treated with sensitivity.
Yes.
Yes.
Deteriorated architectural features shall be repaired rather than replaced whenever possible. In the event that replacement is necessary, the new material should match the material being replaced in composition, design, color, texture, and other visual qualities. Repair or replacement of missing architectural features should be based on accurate duplications of features substantiated by historic, physical, or pictorial evidence rather than on conjectural design or the availability of different architectural elements from other buildings or structures.
NA.
NA.
The surface cleaning of structures shall be undertaken with the gentlest means possible. Sandblasting and other cleaning methods that will damage the historic building material shall not be undertaken.
NA.
Every reasonable effort shall be made to protect and preserve architectural resources affected by or adjacent to any project.
Yes.
Yes.
Contemporary design for alterations and additions to existing properties shall not be discouraged when such alterations and additions do not destroy significant historical, architectural, or cultural material, and such design is compatible with the size, scale, color, materials, and character of the property, neighborhood, or environment.
Yes.
Whenever possible, new additions or alterations shall be done in such a manner that if such additions or alterations were to be removed in the future, the essential form and integrity of the structure will be unimpaired.
Yes.
Yes.
The height of the proposed structure or additions or alterations should be compatible with surrounding structures.
NA.
The proportion between the width and height of the proposed structure should be compatible with nearby structures.
NA.
The proportions and relationships between doors and windows should be compatible with existing structures.
NA.
The relationship of a structure to an open space between it and adjoining structures should be compatible.
NA.
The design of the roof should be compatible with adjoining structures.
NA.
Landscaping, the use of appurtenances should be sensitive to the individual structures, its occupants, and their needs. Further, the landscape treatment should be compatible with surrounding structures and landscapes.
NA.
The scale of the structure should be compatible with surrounding structures.
NA.
Street facades should blend with other structures with regard to directional expression. When adjacent structures have a dominant horizontal or vertical expression, this should be carried over and reflected.
NA.
Architectural details and materials should be incorporated as necessary to relate the new with the old and to preserve and enhance the inherent characteristics of the area.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Do we have a motion on this petition?
I move to approve as presented.
We have a motion from Commissioner Farrell Gould to approve as presented. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Kraus, second. I think we can have a voice vote on this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations and thank you. I would like to echo what Vice Chairman Maloof says. I've had the privilege of touring the facility, and the work that you're doing is remarkable. So thank you and keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Case number HPC 308-2026. Staff, will you please read this into the record?
Okay, this is case number HPC 308-2026. It's a public hearing on the request of the City of Peoria on behalf of Vivian Pfeiffer to obtain a certificate of appropriateness in a Class WM West Main Form District to replace the garage roof for the property located at 1021 North Ellis Street. The parcel identification number is 1804-303-009. This property is located here fronting Ellis Street, and it abuts an alley. It's in the Flora Ellis Local Historic District. It's developed with a dwelling up near the front, along Ellis Street, and then in the back there is a small garage. So the request this afternoon or this morning is regarding the roof for this garage. The roof was kind of accidentally replaced by a contractor that was working on the house next door under the guise thinking that this garage with its proximity was the same project, but it was not. So we're asking this morning to approve the work that was completed. They replaced the rolled roof material with architectural shingles, GAF brand, and in the color birchwood, which happens to match the material of the house that is adjacent. So we have some photos to show. This is the home for the subject property, again, fronting Ellis. The garage is in the back, not visible here from this angle. The garage is seen from the alley prior to the change to the roof material. And then this is the roof after the changes. Sorry, that one's oriented differently, but those would be images of the completed work. And the material that was used, again, was the Timberline GAF product, birchwood coloring. So that's a summary of our petition. We do have Mr. Justin Mishler here. He's able to answer any questions as he was working on the city project next door when we learned of this alteration.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, commissioners, for staff before we proceed? Okay, hearing none. You say we do have representatives here?
Yes, with our grants department.
There you go.
He can approach.
Good morning. Would you please state your name and address for the record?
Yep. Good morning, everyone. My name is Justin Mishler. I work with the Grants Department and the Community Development Department here at Peoria. Unfortunately, I was before you. We did the 608 Russell Street roof and got that approved. Unfortunately, when the contractors were out there, due to the close proximity of the garage to the house, they removed the shingles thinking it was part of the project. Unfortunately, by the time we realized it, it was completely off. So we had to put it back on. I spoke with the homeowner of Ellis Street. She was okay with going back with a similar color to the Russell Street shingle that was previously approved. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I mean, we're kind of just begging for forgiveness at this point. Do you guys have any questions?
I think I'll speak for the whole commission. You are forgiven. Okay. Commissioners, do we have any questions for the petitioner? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Anyone from the public care to address this petition? Okay, hearing none, the public portion is now concluded. Staff, do we have any discussion among ourselves other than forgiving the gentleman for the error? No discussion. Okay, hearing none. Commissioner Maloof, we will proceed with the finding of facts.
Thank you. Every reasonable effort shall be made to provide a compatible use for a property that requires minimal alteration of the building, the structure or site, and its environment, or to use a property for its originally intended purpose.
Yes.
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 The distinguishing original qualities or character of the building, structure, or site and its environment shall not be destroyed. The removal or alteration of any historic material or distinctive architectural feature should be avoided when possible.
Yes.
Yes.
All building structures and sites shall be recognized as products of their own time. Alterations that have no historical basis and that seek to create an earlier appearance shall be discouraged.
Yes.
Yes.
Changes that may have taken place in the course of time are evidence of the history and development of a building, a structure, or site and its environment. These changes may have acquired significance of their own right, and this significance shall be recognized and respected.
NA.
NA.
Yep. Distinctive stylistic features or examples of skilled craftsmanship that characterize a building, structure, or site shall be treated with sensitivity.
NA.
Deteriorated architectural features shall be repaired rather than replaced whenever possible. In the event that replacement is necessary, the new material should match the material being replaced in composition, design, color, texture, and other visual qualities. Repair or replacement of missing architectural features should be based on accurate duplications of features substantiated by historic, physical, pictorial evidence rather than on conjectural design or the availability of a different architectural element from other buildings and structures.
Yes.
Yes.
The surface cleaning of structures shall be undertaken with the gentlest means possible. Sandblasting and other cleaning methods that will damage the historic building material shall not be undertaken.
NA.
NA.
Every reasonable effort shall be made to protect and preserve archaeological resources affected by or adjacent to any project.
NA.
NA.
Contemporary design for alterations and additions to existing properties shall not be discouraged when such alterations and additions do not destroy significant historical, architectural, or cultural material, and such design is compatible with the size, scale, color, materials, and character of the property, neighborhood, or environment.
Yes.
Yes.
Whenever possible, new additions or alterations shall be done in such a manner that if such additions or alterations were to be removed in the future, the essential form and integrity of the structure would be unimpaired.
NA.
The height of the proposed structure or additions or alterations should be compatible with surrounding structures.
Yes.
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 The proportion between the width and height of the proposed structure should be compatible with nearby structures.
Yes.
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 The proportions and relationships between doors and windows should be compatible with existing structures.
NA.
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 The relationship of a structure to the open space between it and adjoining structures should be compatible.
NA.
NA.
The design of the roof should be compatible with adjoining structures.
Yes.
Yes.
Landscaping, the use of appurtenances should be sensitive to the individual structures, its occupants, and their needs. Further, the landscape treatment should be compatible with surrounding structures and landscapes.
NA.
NA.
The scale of the structure should be compatible with surrounding structures.
Yes.
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 Street facades should blend with other structures with regard to directional expression. When adjacent structures have a dominant horizontal or vertical expression, this should be carried over and reflected.
NA.
NA.
Got it. Architectural details and materials should be incorporated as necessary to relate the new with the old and to preserve and enhance the inherent characteristics of the area.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Commissioners, do we have a motion on this petition?
I would move to approve as presented.
We have a motion from Commissioner Kraus to approve as presented.
I'll second.
We have a second from Commissioner Leslie. Voice vote, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you again. You'll get your certificate of appropriateness in short order. Thank you again.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Case number HPC 3112026. At this time, I am going to ask Vice Chairman Maloof to assume leadership of this meeting.
Staff, would you read the petition to the file, please?
This is case number HBC 311-2026. It's a public hearing on the request of Blair Gamble to designate the dwelling located at 101 West Stratford Drive, parcel identification number 142818411 in Peoria as a local historic landmark. For this type of request, a notification is published in the Journal Star, and it's also posted via a sign on the property. And then as a courtesy, we mailed postcards to owners of property within 250 feet. As part of the findings for this type of request, as well as application minimum requirements, just want to indicate that the owner in this request is the same as the applicant, indicating agreement with this request to designate the property as a local landmark. So this petition is regarding 101 West Stratford Road to Stratford Drive to designate the dwelling on the property. The application that is provided to you indicates that 7 of the his application is showing that 7 of the 10 criteria for a local historic landmark are met. The minimum requirement for this commission to find are met to recommend approval is 3, and one of those is if there's owner consent. The single-family dwelling here, he has provided some historical photos, some of the historical narratives of the architect involved in the dwelling, as well as the original owner, businessman Henry Klaus. This property is located at the intersection currently, the current intersection of Stratford Drive with Knoxville Avenue, just north of War Memorial, up here at the top. If this is approved, this would designate the dwelling only, not the entire property. And his application indicates the home was built about 1926 for businessman Henry Klaus. For these types of requests for this commission for designation, your finding is if you find to approve the request, it is a recommendation that will be forwarded to City Council, and City Council would take final action. If your findings this morning are to deny the request, then that is the final administrative action. The applicant would not be able to reapply for this same designation for a period of 12 months. But it wouldn't go to council. Only a recommendation to approve is forwarded on. But that's staff's summary and some of the procedural aspects of this request. Mr. Blair Gamble is present, and I believe he can offer more insight into his cause for designation, if you want to ask him to approach the podium.
Mr. Chairman Pro Tem, I have a question for staff.
Oh, sure.
I guess I'm not clear on the distinction of the dwelling versus the property. I thought with most single-family homes that would be designated as historic, it would be the property. I was not familiar with that distinction.
I mean, I think we've had some you know, if there is alterations they want to take place on the property, then it isn't subject to the certificate of appropriateness process. There's been some like that, so I know he has some other structures. I might be,
So the ordinance does, I mean, the ordinance makes a distinction between districts and individual properties.
and properties
I was not aware that you could then dial it down further.
to the dwelling.
Findings of facts are landscaping
Okay.
changes, et cetera. So I thought,
Well, we can clarify that then in the recommendation that it should be for the whole property. I don't think there's a difference
I would assume
in the application.
entire single-family property as historic, but again, I don't remember every word in the ordinance.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good distinction. Someone representing the petitioner like to come and present your thoughts and plans?
Thank you. I appreciate the time by this commission. I'm impressed. This is
Name
the
and
first
address,
time I've
please.
been to one of these meetings.
Name and address.
My name is Blair Gamble, 101 West Stratford Drive. I've lived at this property for approximately 30 years. Raised my 3 daughters there, and now I'm raising my 3-year-old son there. Okay. This property was originally Henry Klaus's property. He owned, maybe many of you know, the Klaus radio, which was an icon in this area. It was the RCA distributorship. He was from Eureka, all right? And at that time, RCA said, we want you to live in Peoria because we need you to be a little bit closer to the railroad and be closer to transportation to get from the railroad to your house. And the reason being that you didn't just do radios, he didn't just do phonographs, he owned the rights to the records that were sold in the Midwest. And these RCA people were people that were like Elvis Presley and so forth. And they would come in on the train, and then they would get on a streetcar, and the streetcar turned around right there at the Knolls. At that time it was Reservoir, and Knoxville. And that they would be entertained by the Klauses and meet people from the area, and then they would go on and go to the next city wherever the railroad went. And so that went on for years, and as many people know, Klauses then got radio, had televisions and everything else later on. This was a house that was built for the purpose of entertaining. And I think it's had more stars in that area than anywhere else. And I was not aware of this until Bob Klaus, the son of Henry, passed away here not too long ago. And for the 2 months before that, I interviewed him, and I have on video and so forth. And the family's okayed me to be able to use that video, okay, if anybody has questions to it and so forth. This home was built by the same architect, and it's Eugene Robinson, and he's the one that built the Grandview Castle. And so it has a great history. Both of these places had steam heat. That was kind of unusual in that day. Usually they were water heat. So, it's just a lot of history to it. It was in the Midwest, we were very fortunate to have the Klauses be very good friends with the Reagans. Mrs. Klaus, at that time, Henry's wife, was good friends with Ronald Reagan's minister, okay, through his mother, and then they all became associated. So when he went to school at Eureka College, he would frequent this home. All right, pretty phenomenal background. He had been there as an actor. He was there as a student, he was there as a governor, and he was there as a presidential candidate. All right, wonderful history. Bob Klaus was with the Creve Coeur Club, and they used to always have for the Washington Day banquet a prior event with cocktails and so forth. And on a given year that Nixon was here as vice president, he actually did come to the Knowles Castle to actually, be entertained and have a private time with the board of the Creve Coeur Club. Over the years, Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra, Debbie Reynolds, Johnny Cash, Doris Day, Dinah Shore, Kenny Rogers, Spike Jones, Jerry Lewis many times, Gene Kelly, and Ben Cosby were frequent visitors on that circuit, okay? Also, Benny and sidekick Rochester, and also Bob Hope, who had actually been here years before that when he was doing vaudeville, but also for the Creve Coeur Club. That was actually my first Washington Day banquet when I moved here in '85. It was not too long after that. I think that this is a landmark. It is a cornerstone of the Knolls. When people think of the Knolls, they think of that home. Most people just wonder who lives there, and people come by all the time. And they get wedding pictures there or whatever, and it's quite a history that we have there. All right. When I moved here from Chicago, actually a friend of mine brought me down, and I had never been to Peoria. I didn't really think anything about it. And we got off the exit there at Knoxville, and we drove down Knoxville, and I was astounded when I got to this Knolls neighborhood, because I actually had a home in Kankakee in the Cobb Boulevard area. If many people know that, that's where the Frank Lloyd Wright houses are and all that. I was astounded at just how beautiful this neighborhood was. And then you go past that, and there's these big mansions and all that with the great lawns and all that. But here we are in this busy intersection with this gorgeous home, and I'm like, wow. Well, Kurt Huber lived there. And my office used to be where Benassi and Benassi ended up, the old Borland Mortuary. And for years I was in there, and when it was sold to Benassi, Kurt Huber was the one that put that together and renovated it. Well, one day I'm driving down the street and I see they're moving all this stuff out, and I thought maybe they were having a nice garage sale or something. And I pulled in the driveway, and there's Kurt Huber and his wife, and we became friends, and next thing you know, I was buying the house directly from him, all right? So I'm the third owner, really. I'm proud to be the third owner. I'm proud to live in the house that I was astounded to see when I first moved here. And, also, by the way, many of you don't know, my daughter, Brett Gamble's in the 10 top models of the world. She was raised here. Okay, and she still domiciles in Peoria and is proud of it. And those of you probably know from the Detweiler Marina thing and things like that, I'm a real advocate for our history. I think that's the one gift that we have here. We're really blessed to have it. And I think sometimes people from the area take it for granted. It's the one thing we have for free, and it's one of our biggest selling features over the years. So thank you. I would hope that you would consider this. And
Any questions of the petitioner? Commissioners, no?
Could you point out some of the architectural significance on the outside of the house? It's a little hard to tell in a picture like that. If you could just kind of identify some of those characteristics.
Well, it's a castle design. It's called Normandy Cottage style that he was actually known for. The only place you normally really see these homes besides Peoria is in Kansas City on the drive there on the Kansas side where they have all the fountains and so forth. I forgot what that neighborhood's called. But the people who actually subdivided this originally were from that area, and they were trying to share it with Peoria. This house was one of those cornerstones of that neighborhood, and that's why it was done this way. You know, the front foyer there is a round room. When you enter, above that is the master bath. And I guess one of the things I can tell you about this house, you know, most homes that are that old take an unbelievable amount of work to keep them in good shape. This thing is built unbelievably. That is not just a brick house. That is built with cement brick walls. They're approximately 17 inches thick. It is actually, the brick is put over that, even the front steps there, that is all built that way also. And it's just built like a fortress. I mean, it's unbelievable. You never have to have people come and tuck pointing and all the things that all other friends of mine that have older homes deal with. Also in the Knolls, it's just unbelievable just how well this place was built. It was one of the first houses to have conduit. It has conduit. They were doing knob and whatever it is at that time with wire. No, this has conduit, the original conduit. It has steam heat. That's pretty phenomenal. Originally, there, off the side there, on where the driveway is, there was actually a coal thing where they dropped the coal in, and then you could, you know, put it in. It, one major change that Klaus changed not too long after it was to have the third level done, so it would be his son's bedroom, and that's why you have dormers. You don't have those on the original, but those were added in later on. I think it was in the 30s. You know, there's many architectural wonderful things like the Pere Marquette and different buildings we have here in Peoria that were built during this era, and this is one of them. And the one on Grandview, and there's a few on the golf course there for the country club that were actually built by the same builder also. I think the Stevenson's house was built by the same builder. It's been accepted by the Central Illinois Landmarks Foundation. We're proud of that, and we display it out front now. Very little changes. The windows had been changed over the years. That was done by Kurt Huber. Some things inside. The bathrooms were changed, and I brought them back to original. Somebody had put tile over the original marble, the small little marble things that you have, you know, in those years. It's back to that, and it's got the original kind of sinks and all that. I like a tradition. It drives me nuts when I hear people go, well, you know, you got to go in and you got to change all this stuff around. No, you don't have to change anything. Just bring it back to what it was originally, and guess what? That's probably less expensive. Okay, but anyway. Does that answer
Thank
some
you.
of your
Yes,
questions?
Thank you, Mr. Gibbon. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Staff, any messages from the public on this request?
Yes, please.
Ah, good.
Hi, my name is Tim Hartnack, and I live at 1403 Moss Avenue. And I would urge you to proceed favorably with this request for local landmark status. This house is one of the earlier homes in the Knolls. Okay, as Blair said before, it was designed by L. Eugene Robinson, who was a well-known architect in Peoria at that time and was particularly known for his residential designs. The style of this house is a French eclectic, and a sub-style of that is towered. And this is a style that was seen in the United States, or popular in the United States, probably between 1920 and 1945. Okay, this is fairly early, you know, for this area around here. There are homes that you will see that are similar, maybe up and down Knoxville, just south of this, or along Sheridan Road in the St. Philomena's area. But those were all done by a different architectural firm later than this. This is probably the first example of this French eclectic style here in town. And I think it's its site, as Blair mentioned before, is just, everybody knows it. You know, it's a visual landmark to many people driving around Peoria. And I think just when you look at the Knolls and the creation of that as a subdivision, particularly the eastern half of it, was for to give the appearance of a rural type subdivision, as opposed to being laid out on a strict grid. You had meandering streets with little parklets in there and stuff. So it invited some of this picturesque type architecture. So I would just encourage you to, accept the application favorably. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, inasmuch as no changes are being contemplated or requested, do we still do the findings of fact on the entire petition?
This is a different.
Staff, can you address that?
Yes, so you would still need to, there's 10 standards for approval of a designation. There needs to find that 3 are met, so not all of them need to be met. 3 of them would need to be met to support his requests. Before you moved on to that, I did receive one comment in support of this case. That was submitted by Chris Rothen, and he writes as the Knolls HOA board president. And he says he's in support of Blair Gamble's petition for local historic landmark designation for 101 West Stratford Drive. The Knolls is a neighborhood defined by its architectural character and the way its homes and streetscapes have held together over time. The home at 101 West Stratford is part of what makes that true. Recognizing it as a local historic landmark affirms the character our residents value and have worked to maintain. The board supports the petition and respectfully asks the commission to approve the designation.
We're still reading them. Mr. Chairman, we do have those, and with your permission, I'd like to have Commissioner Kraus read them out for the record.
That'll be fine.
Thank you, sir.
Its character, interest, or value as part of the development, heritage, or cultural characteristics of the city, the county, the state, or the United States of America.
So you would, I believe, do the same yes, no, or...
Yeah, it is a yes, no, or NA type of findings of fact worksheet also. Let me preface it. The Historic Preservation Commission shall, upon such investigation as it deems necessary, make a determination as to whether a nominated property, structure, or area meets 3 or more of the following criteria. So number 1 is its character, interest, or value as part of the development, heritage, or cultural characteristics of the city, the county, the state, or the United States of America.
Yes.
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 Its location as a site of a significant local, county, state, or national event.
No.
Yes.
No, yes?
No.
Anything more? I'm sorry?
I would say no.
No?
No.
Okay. Its identification with a person who significantly contributed to the development of the city, the state, or the nation.
Yes.
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 Its embodiment of distinguishing characteristics of an architectural style valuable for the study of a period, type, method of construction, or use of indigenous materials.
Yes.
Yes.
Its identification as the work of a master building designer, architect, or landscape architect whose individual work has influenced the development of the city, the state, or the nation.
Yes.
Yes.
Its embodiment of elements of design, detailing, materials, or craftsmanship that render it architecturally significant.
Yes.
Yes.
Its embodiment of design elements that make it structurally or architecturally innovative.
Yes.
Yes.
Its unique location or singular physical characteristics that make it an established or familiar visual feature.
Yes.
Yes.
Its character as a particularly fine or unique example of a utilitarian structure with a high level of integrity or architectural significance.
NA.
No. Yeah, NA.
NA.
Yeah.
The owner's consent,
Yes.
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 and that is it.
I think we can, I'd like to have a voice vote, and we will, that you all approve this petition, and we will proceed. Do you approve this vote with this?
You could ask for a motion. That would be
All right, for a
appropriate.
motion, thank you.
So moved. I move to.
By Commissioner Leslie,
I'd second the motion.
by Commissioner Kraus, moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. At this point, I think we've covered our cases. Do we close this to the public now and get down to the election, or is there something else that needs to be covered?
I'll just restate that this case would be forwarded as recommendation to City Council for their final action on your recommendation to approve.
So to clarify, this board has approved this commission.
This case.
This
yeah.
petition.
Yeah, you found 8 of the 10 findings to be true.
Very good. We will advance this to the city council. And thank you for the information, and thank you for your efforts.
Well done.
I think you can take over the reins,
Okay.
Mr. Wiggins-Redmond.
We need to receive and file staff report regarding issued administrative certificates of appropriateness.
Yes, so this is something that we are kind of reinstating to bring before this commission. We will try to remember to bring back to you just to highlight what administrative certificates of appropriateness have been approved. There's an array of types of requests that can be administratively reviewed at staff level with consulting the chairman, and so look forward to these being regularly brought back to you. But since we recognized that we needed to reinstate this, we've approved 2. The addresses and case numbers and general reason for the approval will be presented in these memos. But there was one at 1705 West Moss Avenue where they were asking to replace garage doors. And then at 807 West Moss Avenue, they were approved for fencing in the rear yard. Those can go through as administrative types of requests.
Thank you. Before we move forward with the election of officers, I would like to welcome our newest member, Mr. Colin Kraus. Welcome.
Thank you.
We look forward to having you with us and working with you.
Likewise, thank you.
So, election of officers.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Commissioner Barry.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate John Wiggins-Redmond as chair for the next 12 months and Michael Maloof as vice chair.
We have a motion to keep yours truly here and to keep Mr. Maloof there. Do we have a second?
I would second.
I think we can do a voice vote on this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Citizens, anyone here wish to address this commission before we adjourn? Yes, please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, thank you so much. Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. I am Joyce Blumenschein, 2419 East Reservoir, the old reservoir in East Bluff in Peoria. And thank you for the time this morning. I am a volunteer and member of Detweiler Playground and Marina Park Protectors. We are a volunteer group that's composed of the Detweiler Marina North Neighborhood Association, neighbors of the area, volunteers from the various environmental groups in the city, members of bike clubs, and also natural history experts. So I'm here today to give you some updates. I spoke at your June meeting. We are trying to look for solutions to save this precious, unique asset for the public that is currently to be public property with the only public boat launch available and used by the Peoria Fire Department for their river rescue, used by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. We saw them here recently with their boats testing for the Illinois carp die-off recently at Peoria Lake, and also other groups like Bass Pro that test their boats there, and regular commercial carp fishermen. So this is an important asset, the only one in the city of Peoria, and the public area there is not only an important legacy for all of us of our French heritage, but our Native American heritage, which is really not given the recognition. So in short, I want to update you because some significant things have happened. Thank you for your time, because the article going around is an update from June. On the 23rd, thanks to Tim Harold with the Detweiler Neighborhood North, the portion of Caroline Street that photo does not do justice. If you turn the other way, it is the only remaining open view of the river of all of that North Valley. Recently, Bond Street is officially closed. Commercial and industrial uses have taken over that area, and the only place left is Caroline Street and the Detweiler Playground and Marina, which we are trying to save. So June 23rd, Thomas H. Detweiler, who donated the land and financial resources and put this property into a trust for the people of Peoria, is planning to divide up this property and sell large portions or give them to the private boat club. And so the 23rd was the designation. It now has the historic street marker at Caroline and Adams. On July 20th, thankfully, to the incredible work of the Central Illinois Landmarks Foundation, the Marina Playground and the significant Marina Harbor building were designated as Central Illinois Landmarks Foundation's award. And that building is unique. It is one of our own key people, a designer of Peoria, architect Cletus Foley, who made Mid-America Modern a new movement here in this, and is renowned for his work. So on August 4th, the Detweiler Marina Neighborhood North, they had a night out against crime where we had various tables and displays on not only the Native American encampments for centuries, but the French traders, and then the French fort moved in the 1600s, and the Catholic mission and the house and the school that built the history of Peoria, which is not really recognized. I urge you to please keep this topic in mind. We are asking for solutions. We are working for solutions. The trust will not meet with us. We've asked repeatedly. Mr. O'Brien and Brian Steele will not meet with us. We've asked repeatedly. And the Park District, who has a right-of-way, was never notified about this land plan for sale. And their property right-of-way is now recorded. It's official. And so I'm here just to ask you, please keep involved and aware, and any advice or assistance would be greatly appreciated as we move forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Barry. Joyce.
Joyce, when you last spoke to us, and we had several different conversations, I thought the state attorney general was engaged somehow. We were trying to get a change to a ruling or whatever. I'm totally out of my element in terms of describing this properly. But oh shoot, I thought. Sorry, never mind. So was there,
trouble
was
hearing you.
there,
I'm so sorry.
was there any, what was the result of your and your group's attempt to work with the Attorney General to get a stay on some sort of ruling by the trust? Again, I'm not describing it properly, but you had engaged in some sort of action in Springfield.
Yes, thank you so much. And the update on our efforts to appeal the decision of the Attorney General, they just basically wrote off and said they had no objections. We appealed that thanks to Tim Harold again and the locals working on it and the assistance of Central Illinois Landmarks. And that is now, we were told, in litigation. We don't know what litigation. It's not been made public. We have sent repeated FOIAs. I sent FOIAs for the information. It is now not being supplied from the Attorney General. And the only update we had is that it's being considered and looked at.
Okay, and so there's no timeline on that avenue of work.
Critical point. Thanks so much. There's no timeline for the Attorney General, but we here in Peoria have a timeline because the case was decided unbeknownst to all of the people of Peoria, I think, except the trust and their attorneys, and maybe a few others. But it was only advertised last fall that it was going to circuit court in legal ads in the Peoria Chronicle, which I don't read or subscribe to. And so a lot of us did have no idea that this happened until March of this year when the Peoria Park District had it in agenda because of the right-of-way of the trail. So what has happened for us is that we have until November, 1 year from that case decision, which did not include the critical information on the French history, Native American history, the right-of-way for the Peoria Park District, the trail, all the importance of this area, and the full Detweiler situation. We have till November to try to appeal this, but we don't know that we have standing because we were never part of the original case. And so we are in a dilemma, ladies and gentlemen, of this really important and essential committee for Peoria, and we are looking for solutions. Thank you for asking.
All right, thanks, Joyce.
Right. Commissioners, anything else? Okay.
Thank you.
While we're distributing materials, I'll just take a moment to say that while the commission is very welcome to enter into discussions for items that you are not voting on today, we do typically encourage you, if you think that a case will be coming before you and there will be a formal hearing, to just sort of limit some of your conversation here until we can appropriately notice it. It is not a requirement of the Open Meetings Act that we notice this conversation, but we do prefer to give the public a heads up if conversation will be had about an item that will be before your body in a formal capacity.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Melissa Smith. I live at 202 West Columbia Terrace, which is in the Randolph-Roanoke Historic District. I'm here to formally put this body on notice regarding an active structural and environmental threat to some of Peoria's historic districts to the west, north, and east of OSF St. Francis's main campus. The FAA has opened docket number FAA-2026-8054 to establish new Class E airspace over our homes for the OSF St. Francis helipads, which is also known as LL37. Currently, the helicopter traffic is not adhering to any avoidance recommendations that's listed on OSF's own website. While we welcome and hope for OSF's support, their recommendation is voluntary while the FAA actually sets the rules. My neighborhood, the Randolph-Roanoke Historic District, is experiencing the disruption and acoustic destruction produced by low-frequency sound waves generated by arriving and departing helicopters several times a day. My own home sits a mere 800 feet due west of the rooftop helipads of LL37. and is suffering from cumulative plaster key damage, especially on upper floor ceilings and walls and exterior soffits. The low-frequency vibrations produced by the helicopter sound waves have negligible effect on modern building materials such as flexible drywall, but it's an established fact that the vibrations do set up sympathetic resonance in historic structures with lath and plaster, and the rigid plaster keys fracture, causing the plaster to separate from the lath and sag, crack, and eventually even collapse. Due to the excessive noise at all hours of the day and night, I've had to abandon my third-floor bedroom and now sleep in a second-floor guest bedroom. Even so, I'm awakened several times nightly as the noise climbs to the mid-50s, mid-60s, and even low 70s dBA as these helicopters arrive and then later depart. Mine is the most extreme case, but it is not the only case in the neighborhood. Because this docket and proposed rule is a federal agency action, it legally triggers a Section 106 review under the National Historic Preservation Act. While this commission probably had no jurisdiction over the private construction of the helipads years ago due to legal and real estate loopholes, you do now have a voice in this federal airspace design. We had proposed an alternative flight corridor following the Illinois River and I-74 south of LL37 that protects these historic district assets while keeping the medical flights safe. So we are proposing that instead of coming from all directions to the helipads, they hit the river and come up and then reverse that when they leave. You have a copy of the general information regarding this issue, a copy of the comment I submitted to the docket, along with examples of plaster damage in my own home, as well as one instance of the acoustic intrusion I recently experienced at 3:16 a.m. I've also provided a QR code for you to view the docket on one of those pages and leave your own comment. So as our designated preservation advocates, I'm asking this commission to submit an official public comment to the FAA docket before the August 31st, 2026 deadline. We don't have much time. And to formally request consulting party status to force the FAA to mitigate these adverse structural impacts. I know that's a lot, but do y'all have any questions?
Okay, thank you. We will take this under advisement.
I appreciate it. And we do have this. I've dealt with this before in Arizona, ironically, when I lived there. And once the FAA goes through with their proposed rule and establishes it, it is practically impossible to get them to backpedal any and make any changes. So this is our very narrow window of opportunity to actually have any say in establishing overflight avoidance areas. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, sorry,
yes, Commissioner Berry.
quick question. It is just the OSF helipad? Does not Methodist also have a helipad that's even closer to Rowan Randolph?
From what I understand, LL37 is like the focus of this, but the airspace that they're considering extends out, I think, 6 miles. So that would include also Carl
Yeah. Methodist, right.
It's fine.
Right. Okay.
As far as I know, it would encompass like most of the city. They're establishing this Class E airspace, so
Thank you.
you're welcome. Any other questions?
Thank you.
I have a question.
Oh, okay.
My name is Maloof. Have you done any research regarding flyover distance requirements? It seems to me that you can't fly an airplane lower than 500 feet, if I recall.
Correct.
And I wonder where helicopters fit into this equation.
There's a lot to digest whenever, I've been trying to do the deep dive. As soon as I found out that this was even happening, the docket was open for comment July 17th, I believe, until August 31st. And there was no notice given to any of the affected areas or anything. It was just, I stumbled across that. And in doing so, I've been trying to do a deep dive on like what can we do? What are the current regulations and such? And as far as I know, the helicopters are trying to stay above, I think it's 1,000 or maybe 1,250 feet, and until they hit that last, approach, and then they orient their helicopter and land. So they're coming in. One of the pages in there shows the flight path of one of the helicopters departing, and it's, I believe, at 925 feet altitude, which actually, when you subtract the elevation, they're only 300 feet above the ground at that point. And I believe LL37, the rooftop helipads, sit at 725 feet altitude, which is, again, like maybe 75 feet above the ground. Another thing to keep in mind is when, like in one of the pages, I have an area called out of, the most severe impact, where no matter where they're coming from, they're always going to be landing and taking off from this one location. And within 1,000 feet radius of that's an accepted, known, be cautious range in the FAA and other flight procedures, I guess. They are aware of the damage that it can cause, the noise disruptions it can cause, and so forth. But the thing to remember is they're still coming down pretty low, and that bubble is basically going to move. Wherever they are, that bubble follows, right? So even if they're at the other end of the neighborhood coming over, they're still low enough. They're only, a couple hundred feet above our rooftops. And so they are definitely within 1,000 feet of that. And the destruction just follows them where they go. So that's why we're trying to get them to avoid approaches from the west, the north, and the east, and just hit the river, come up.
Mr. Chairman, this has implications that go beyond just a discussion. I don't know whether City Attorney Patrick Hay should be consulted, but if those volumes of air pressures are damaging a historic structure, does it come under our purview?
I'm going to have to defer to staff on that.
I think we'd prefer to have a conversation with Corporation Counsel on this matter. That's okay?
Yeah. So at this time, probably any further discussion is inappropriate until we get some more information from staff.
I'm not saying that. I'll clarify. What I would say is that this is not a typical request that we would see, so I'm not comfortable sort of quickly saying whether or not this falls under your purview under Chapter 16.
All right, thank you.
We'll get some information on this.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'm also going to be contacting the state level of the preservation and ask for their support as well, because this is something that has been allowed to, no pun intended, fly under the radar for decades since they established their heliports there, I believe in the 80s, simply because it was privately owned. And they've, maintained a good public standing. They're very, they're charitable, their charitable contributions and such. And it wasn't until the FAA started to try to establish this Class C airspace that it actually opens up the discussion of what this air traffic is causing to our protected homes. So.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved by Vice Chairman Maloof. Second?
Second.
Second by Farrell Gould. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Yes.
It's probably a 100 or a 200 series number, but I'd really like to recommend let my son look into it.
Yeah, definitely.
With that endorsement from you, it's got to be good. Jeez.
I'll ask him and then I'll send it to you.
You have my phone number?
Yeah, I do.
Good. All right.
I'm sure he would love that. Now I'm gonna tell him he's gotta be on his best behavior teaching, so. I do feel bad for her. I grew up 7 miles from O'Hare Airport, so I really relate to how stressful it is.
Over my home, 500 feet.
Yeah.
I know. You know, I'm not, that 300 seems.
Yeah, that's rough. I just was talking to do you know Jason Patton?
I know the name.
He's a realtor and he lives on Barker in that one little, it's like a brick, it looks like a Chicago house.
Yeah.
So he's my realtor that I've always used, and we always talk about historic stuff. And he was just telling me,
Does fall.
This kid is 27 years old. He's in the military. They love the area. Kind of bought it sight unseen. So.
Oh, it's a wet day. I'm going to look at it. Yeah, now that I have your thing, I'll send you a contact.
Very, who's very